Saturday morning was supposed to be simple. I planned to organize my garage before grilling with friends that afternoon. But the moment I pressed the garage door opener, I knew my plans had just changed. None of those boxes belonged to me. My tools were buried behind old furniture, and someone had even blocked access to my workbench. Whoever filled my garage clearly expected me not to notice for a while. I checked my security cameras before touching a single box. The footage showed a moving truck arriving the previous evening. Standing beside it, calmly directing the workers, was HOA President Susan Mitchell. I replayed the footage 3 different times. Susan unlocked my side gate with a temporary HOA contractor key, waved the movers inside, and pointed directly toward my garage. Not once did anyone knock on my front door or try to contact me. I paused the video when Susan pointed toward my workbench. The mover stacked boxes exactly where I kept my power tools. Whoever planned this knew the garage belonged to me, yet they filled nearly every empty space anyway. Instead of arguing, I documented everything. I photographed every box, every piece of furniture, and every section of my block garage before moving a single item. If questions came later, I wanted a complete record. After finishing the photos, I called Susan. She answered immediately and casually said, "It's only temporary." When I asked how long temporary meant, she simply replied, "Until we find somewhere else." I politely explained that I needed my garage clear that same weekend. Susan laughed and told me the HOA was doing the neighborhood a favor. That answer made my next decision much easier. I wasn't going to dump anyone's belongings or damage anything. Instead, I carefully carried every box onto my driveway and arranged everything neatly in rows. Then I placed one large sign in front of the collection. Before sunset, I posted a photo of the neatly organized items on a local community giveaway page, simply stating that everything on the driveway was available for free pickup. By the next morning, my phone had hundreds of notifications, and my driveway was already getting busy. By 8 o'clock the next morning, neighbors had already started stopping in front of my house. Everyone asked the same question: "Is everything really free?" I smiled, pointed the sign, and told them to take only what they could use. Within 30 minutes, several families had carefully loaded furniture into their trucks. A college student happily took an old desk, while another neighbor found shelves perfect for a home workshop. The driveway was slowly beginning to clear. Around mid-morning, Susan's black SUV turned onto my street. The moment she saw the nearly empty driveway, she slammed on the brakes. Her expression changed from confusion to absolute disbelief. She jumped out of the SUV and hurried toward the driveway. "What happened to all those boxes?" she demanded. I calmly pointed toward the large sign that still stood near the sidewalk. Susan insisted that everything belonged to the HOA. I politely reminded her that none of it had been stored with my permission. Before saying anything else, I showed her the security footage from the previous evening. As we talked, a city police officer arrived after receiving a non-emergency call about the disagreement. He greeted both of us politely and asked each person to explain the situation from the beginning. The officer first reviewed my security camera recordings. Then he compared the timestamps with the photos I had taken that morning. Everything matched perfectly, creating a clear timeline of events. Next, the officer asked Susan if she had written permission to store property inside my garage. She searched through her clipboard for several moments, but couldn't find any document authorizing it. After hearing both sides, the officer explained that documenting property, keeping it organized, and avoiding damage had helped keep the situation calm. He encouraged everyone to resolve any remaining questions through proper communication. By sunset, the driveway was completely clear, and my garage was finally usable again. Looking around, I realized that staying calm, documenting everything, and letting the community help had solved the problem far better than losing my temper ever could. Early Monday morning, I finally parked my truck inside the garage again. For the first time in days, every shelf, every toolbox, and every workspace was exactly where I'd left it. I thought the whole situation was finally over. She explained that the boxes had come from an HOA clubhouse renovation. The temporary storage unit they had reserved wasn't available on schedule, and someone decided my empty garage looked like a convenient solution. No one had bothered to ask first. I asked one simple question. Who approved using private property without permission? Susan looked down at the paperwork and admitted she couldn't identify anyone who had given that instruction in writing. A few members of the HOA board arrived shortly afterward. After reviewing the security footage and paperwork together, they acknowledged that storing belongings in a homeowner's garage without permission had been a poor decision. The board members apologized for the inconvenience and offered to cover the cost of cleaning supplies and the time I had spent reorganizing the garage. I appreciated the gesture more than the money itself. Before everyone left, we agreed on a new policy. Any future requests involving a homeowner's property would require written permission before anything could be stored or moved. A few weeks later, I noticed the neighborhood running much more smoothly. Communication had improved, residents were informed in advance about community projects, and misunderstandings became far less common. Looking back, I realized a homemade free pickup sign had done something unexpected. It started a conversation that eventually changed how the HOA worked with homeowners throughout the neighborhood. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this HOA story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more original stories every week. And before you go, tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? A month later, I received an invitation to attend the HOA's monthly community meeting. Curious to hear what had changed, I decided to stop by after work. Several neighbors greeted me with smiles before the meeting even began.